Mass shooting was reported Sunday morning, this morning, at a church in Sutherland Springs, with about 40 miles southeast of San Antonio. And according to reporters on the scene, there are reports that two airlift helicopters were at the scene. A witness reported seeing a man walking into First Baptist Church there in Sutherland Springs and beginning to open fire. Again, this happening around 11:30 a.m. Central Time, was just under 2 hours ago. There is a large response by first responders on scene, and we're getting reports that officers there on scene. Meanwhile, we have several people being treated for gunshot wounds. First responders working to remove bodies, we're told, which means there are fatalities. Again, this started around 11:30 Central Time, just under 2 hours ago, when witnesses reported seeing a man walk into First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, 40 miles southeast of San Antonio, and opening fire on the congregation. The story is unfolding. This is what we have at the moment, and we're going to keep collecting as much information as possible. When we get those details, we'll get them to you. We do have former D.C. homicide detective Williams on the phone.
Yes, I'm on the phone.
So you just heard me report the little information that we have. Based on what it is that we do know, what are you thinking? Your first mind?
Well, my first thought is that they clearly want to neutralize the shooter or shooters, and that's going to be significant. So if there's someone that's actually down, then the investigation will start from that person who is perhaps dead or down. And then the next thing that they want to do is a present. And most important, they're also trying to determine who this person or persons are. And they're trying to find out at this stage, in the early stages here, what also was the motive. Was this a terrorist act? Was this somebody that had a grudge against someone at the church? Motive is always significant and important at this early stage of the investigation.
Right. And Detective Williams, as they work to protect the crime scene there, how to first unintentionally evidence there on the scene, and also getting the bodies, the people who are wounded, getting them to the hospital, or perhaps, unfortunately, in some cases, to the coroner's office. We know multiple people have been shot. There are early reports of fatalities. We don't have any exact numbers, but talk about that process for us.
Well, foremost, you've got first responders that are responding there, and their first inclination and duty is to try to make sure that anybody who is injured is immediately given care. And once they found out that there are individuals who are there that have expired and that no care can be given, law enforcement officers will set up perimeters where nobody will be able to move in and out. In order to determine what has happened here, one of the things they're going to have to do early on is look at the various phone calls that they would have gotten from cell phones of individuals perhaps there at the church, because those first excited utterance will be the first indicators of what actually took place there on the scene. This is what law enforcement, unfortunately, because of terrorist acts around the country, they are pretty well educated on how to pursue these mass casualties. Shooter is actually down. Number two, what was the motive, and to preserve that crime scene.
And of course, we're showing some video right now. It's a little bit shaky, but however, what you can tell from this video, that it is, as we could figure, being in such a small town, that it is a small church, which means that more than likely there is a small congregation. So Detective Williams, when you have the officers on scene, detectives on scene, I'd imagine they're going to go first to the people who are there at the church, the churchgoers, the ushers, the pastors. If they saw him, if they recognized him, starting there, and then where did they work from that point?
Well, that's it. Once they have found out if anybody recognized the shooter, and once they have interviewed just everybody that was there are witnesses to a crime, so the law enforcement is going to want to view everybody who the shooter is. The next thing they're going to want to do is to try to talk to individuals to see if they know or recognize the person. Once they've made some kind of an identification, then they will spread. They will move to that person's residence and to try to find other individuals outside even of the church community that would perhaps know the person. Anybody in the church community that would know the person, they would want to get as much information, and when I say the person, meaning the shooter, they would want to get as much information as they possibly can concerning that person.
More than likely go over to the hospital to also interview those who have been injured. How quickly would other agencies jump in on this investigation?
Other agencies are there immediately. You've got ATN, you're going to have the FBI, you're going to have other federal agencies there. So this is not at this stage going to be left up to just the local police department in that venue. You're going to have quite a few law enforcement agencies there. They are then going to have to coordinate among themselves. Some will immediately be moving to the hospital to see what individuals who were injured at the hospital actually observed and saw. It is critical and significant that at the early stages of the investigation like this, that once the shooter has been neutralized, that they did.
Williams, as we're looking at this preliminary video that we're getting from the scene, I want to remind everybody what we're looking at and reporting on: a mass shooting happening this morning at a church in Sutherland Springs, just 40 miles southeast of San Antonio. Early reports of several people shot. Witnesses reporting seeing a man, no description of him at this point, walking into First Baptist Church there and beginning to open fire, happening just about 2 hours ago now, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. A large response, as you can see there, by first responders. We're getting reports